Florida was like a vacation because you had your New York trainers, and the way of life was a little quieter and smoother, and everybody was in New York was kind of high on themselves, and we were the working stiffs in the Midwest. But I couldn't wait to get to New York.
Did you have any favorite tracks? I mean, did you race at Churchill Downs? And
yes, oh yes.
What did you think?
I like Churchill Downs. I've never been to a racetrack I don't like. I can't ever recall being to a racetrack I didn't like. Some had different good points than others. Some had some downsides. Churchill Downs is a fine race. I think Arlington Park, Saratoga, Belmont Park are three of the finest racetracks in the world. Aqueduct, when we did it in the summer, was the best racetrack, and still is, that I've ever been to, but now it's got a bad reputation because we race in the wintertime. Nobody likes winter racing.
Why?
Well, it's cold, it's miserable, it's hard on horses, it's hard on people, but the state wants you to do it, so you do it.
Right. Now, you tried to get into Belmont initially in 1959?
Yes, and there was no space in New York.
Now, was it as big as it is now, as far as the stable area go? It was bigger?
No, the stable area was the same. It was just filled up. No racetrack is really filled up anymore. Maybe Saratoga will be filled up.
Right.
And that's about it. There isn't as many horses around as there used to be.
How many trainers are there at Belmont Park?
I would say 300.
300 trainers. Each of them probably has a barn like you do?
No, not a whole barn. Some of them have 5 horses, 3 horses. Some of them have 60 horses. Right. And no, there's different amounts of horses, but I think there's probably 300 trainers at Belmont. Right. And that would include Aqueduct, too. That would include Aqueduct, a much smaller stable area. Big track, but a smaller stable area.
Now, we went down to Belmont middle of the week last week, and we observed some of the training that goes on there. And we have some videotape that we're going to go to, and most of it's taken right outside your stable.
Yeah,
should come up in a minute.
That's the training track.
That's the training.
That's the 1-mile training track.
The training track. Now, how many tracks are there? There's the main track, and then there's 2 training tracks?
There's a training track, and there's what we call a pony track. It's about a little over a quarter-mile around.
Okay, and this is that track.
That's the training track. That's the mile training track.
Now, how do you determine the schedule of training? I think you have 28 horses now?
Yes.
How do you determine which horse is going to run, gallop, walk? I mean, how do you work out a schedule as a trainer?
Each horse is after their 2-year-old, we bring them in April 1st of their 2-year-old year. Within a month, they're on an individual program. Right. We start them off the same. Usually we train on the training track because it's a little softer, it's a little deeper. It wouldn't be as suitable for racing as the main track, but it's a little easier on their legs. Right. And when you go from the main track from the training track to the main track, your horse is very much fitter.
Right, right. Now this is, can you recognize which horse this is?
Yeah, that's a filly called Tie Talk.
And now she's, I guess, has just come in from the training track. And
she's come back from the training track, and she's getting her bath.
Now, they go out onto the track for about how long?
They're probably on the track. I like to keep them out there as long as I dare and still try to get through in the morning. I would say she would have been out there 12, 14 minutes, and then she'll get her bath, and then she'll walk for another 30 minutes, supposedly to cool out. But unless she's done something fast, she's cooled out already. But we just...
Right. And now when you walk them, you're actually walking them inside
the barn around. We have no place really to walk outside because that's a washing area.
Now, one thing you have now, this is inside the barn.
Inside the barn. That's sand. That's deep sand. And
our viewers will notice something around the horse's neck. What is that?
That filly has, her name is Snowhouse, S-N-O-H-A-U-S, as the name you see on that ski shop on Hempstead.
Okay.
That's where I got the name for her. She's by Pete Ski. Sire is Pete Ski, so I took Ski in there. And anyway, she had her shins fired. And what is firing, you're going to say?
That's
okay,
absolutely.
She had sore shins. Like people that run on the sidewalk, they get sore shins. So what we do, we take the veterinarian takes a firing iron, he blocks her, Novocaines her, and then he takes a firing iron and he puts little holes down her shin. So what we're really doing is putting a direct injury against a chronic injury. When the direct injury heals, the chronic injury will heal. And she'll have that, she's still got it on, she'll have that on for a total of maybe 3 weeks. And she'll be out of training about 5 weeks.
And the neck brace keeps her
from going down and pulling her bandages off or maybe chewing on her legs when they're starting to heal and they're itching. So we don't want her to do that.
Right. Now this horse, Do you recognize which one this is?
Yeah, this is a horse called, let's see who that is. Oh, that's a horse called Fini Fanuto.
Now, how do you come up with the names of horses? This is
Well, we
something
name
that-
our own horses, and somebody else named that one, and I don't know how they did that. He's a pretty well-bred horse. He's by Easy Goer out of a mare by Nijinsky, and he deserved a better name. That's the name.
But names are the names of racehorses is one aspect of horse racing that people are familiar
Oh,
with.
yes. Oh, yeah.
And they're usually pretty unusual.
Yeah, we get some unusual names.
So
yeah.
now,
We're allowed 18 letters, 18 letters including spaces.
Okay.
And then you have to submit the name to the jockey club. You can't use ethnic slurs, but they get by.
Right.
If you want to do it, so they let them. They don't let them get by on purpose, but they will get by. But usually the jockey club has to approve them. They can't have been on another horse for 10 years, and they can't be a repeat of a famous horse.
Right. So
In other words, you couldn't have a native dancer or another secretary or another man of war. Right. In our time, you couldn't. I don't know what's going to happen in the future, but that's the way it is now.
Now, how many people are actively working? I should tell our viewers that 5:30 in the morning to 10:30 a.m. is
the training hour.
Is the training hour?
Yes.
How many people work in there?
In our stable, we have about 31 people.
And they work every day.
Oh yeah. Well, no, the grooms have a day off. We have 2 swingmen, we call them, and the grooms have a day off. The exercise boys work every day, but they don't work many hours. They work from 6 until about 10 o'clock.
Okay.
The assistant trainer works every day, and I work every day. And he gets there about 4:30 in the morning and takes their temperatures, checks the feed tub, checks their legs. I get there at 5:30, and he tells me what he saw, and then we go around together. And by 6, we start training.
Now, you get there at 5:30, but
Yes.
you have told me in previous interviews I've done with you that you actually get up many hours before.
I get up at 2:45 because I work out, and I found that through the years, I can only work out early in the morning. I feel great doing that. If I come home dragging after the races or in the noontime and I'm tired and everything went wrong, I don't feel like working out. I've got 2 treadmills in my basement, and I go at it pretty strong in the morning.
You do about 45 minutes?
45 minutes on the
45
treadmill,
minutes.
yeah.
Now, and you live in Rockville Center, so
Well,
you live
yeah.
very close to the
Very
track.
close to Belmont. In the morning, it's a 12, 13-minute drive. The afternoon, add another 5 minutes maybe.
Now, in this next portion of the tape, a horse is getting ready to go out to the exercise track.
Yes.
And basically, what is the groom doing here?
The groom is fixing the bridle. The bridle was too loose in the horse's mouth, and I was probably standing out of the picture hollering at him. And the exercise boy leaned over and helped him, and then the horse has a tongue strap on, and he's sticking his tongue out, letting his tongue hang out of his mouth, but it's not important.
I was going to actually ask you, why do some horses do that?
Why do they hang their tongue out of the mouth?
Yeah.
I think in defiance of the fact that we put a tongue strap on them. I don't know really why. But they put it eventually gets back in.
All right. Now,
And now I'm telling Vincenti, there's 17 years he's been with me, what I want him to do with that horse. And then you light a little candle and hope he can do it.
right now, you were. I know when I was taping this that you were saying, well, the horse is going to race. And I think this horse is
Yeah, and I was
actually running.
looking in the book to see when the race was. That's a filly called 36 on Ice. And I wanted to see when the race was as to how much I was going to do with her that morning.